Whether or not that ends up being completely insane, we will just have to find out together. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Well, y'all, it is that time of year, the time of year where we say goodbye to the last 365 days and wave in a fresh set of downs. And I, like many others, look forward to this time of year because I'm actually really energized by the turning over of the calendar. I know it's completely mental, and in the past has held me back because I waited on the turning over of the year to really motivate myself to do better. But I am still someone who is hopelessly devoted to the idea of New Year's resolutions. Not only do I look forward to making them every year, I actually really enjoy looking back on my progress from the previous year and assessing what worked and what didn't. I will link my video on how my 2025 resolutions went in the cards and in the description below, but spoiler alert, I had a very ambitious slate of resolutions last year and most of them weren't met. But that wasn't really a surprise for me either because I did set a lot of kind of delusional goals, things that were just way outside of the realm of possibility for me and were never going to be met in the first place. But I set them in order to push myself farther than I would have without them. So while on paper, my 2025 goals look really sad and unmet, I feel really proud of the progress I made in 2025. Not only did I finish a first draft, a complete first draft, something that I have not done since 2019, but I started a second draft and damn near finished that one too, something I haven't done at all. I made AuthorTube friends and I experienced exponential growth on this channel. I've learned so much about myself, not just as a writer and a content creator, but what my limits are as a mom of 3 kids with a full-time job and all of the obligations that those things entail, and still trying to write a book and make content about it. So it shouldn't surprise you that I was really looking forward to making this year's resolutions list. And part of me really wanted to mimic the setup that I had last year, where I had tiers of goals from the most basic to the ambitious but possible to the outright delusional. However, after rewatching last year's video, it occurred to me that maybe that wasn't the best setup. And then I remembered that technically January 1, 2026 is the start of my 5-year plan to become a full-time author and content creator. And as such, I don't feel like regular resolutions are enough. I need to be thinking much more deeply and much more seriously and much more strategically about how I want to tackle my writing goals in 2026. So with that in mind, I thought really long and hard about how I wanted to approach this new year. And I've come up a set of resolutions and a set of ambitions or goals that I want to achieve. The resolutions are more like habits that I want to form or benchmarks I want to hit, whereas the goals require much more effort and strategic planning than the resolutions. I'd like to tell you about both, starting with my resolutions. I've given it some thought and I've got 5 that I think speak to what I am trying to achieve in 2026. Number 1, I would like to write 329 out of 365 days in 2026. And that sounds like an odd number, and you wouldn't be wrong about that. But I've done the math, and if you break it down, that actually equals out to about 90% of 365. So 90% of days in the new year. Or looking at it another way, it's also 3 days off per month. And while that does seem like not giving myself enough wiggle room, I know a lot of aspiring authors choose to not write on the weekends. As I am working up to hopefully becoming an author, I don't have the luxury of not writing on my days off. And so, yes, I will be writing most weekends. That is definitely a personal choice, and no shade to anyone who chooses not to do that and protects that time for themselves. I'm not someone who is in a position or even really wants to do that at this stage. It's a tall order for sure. It would be a major improvement over last year, where I think I got like 150 days out of 365, so not even half. A big jump. But I think with this new perspective I have and this commitment to the the 5-year plan and all of these goals that I want to achieve, I will be more motivated than ever to actually hit that number. The second resolution I have is I would like to read 50 books next year. This is down from last year's resolution to read 100, which was crazy ambitious. And while I was kind of keeping up to it up to a certain point, I realized at around the middle of the year that I could not read as much as I would like and make content about it and put as much time and effort into my draft as it required. And I made the unfortunate realization that I was not prioritizing writing in the way that I should be if I wanted to ever get this book finished and hopefully out into the world. So with a heavy heart, I did take a step back from reading. However, I realized recently that in deprioritizing reading, it has completely fallen off my radar, and I actually haven't finished a book since September. And that is not where I want to be in the new year. I want to be reading consistently, as I definitely ascribe to the belief that writers should be well read, especially in their genre, but across all kinds of literature. And so while I don't think it will be possible to read as much as some other non-writing creators, I think 50 is a really good baseline. That's approximately 1 book a week, and it was about what I was reading the year before when there was much more of a balance. And honestly, I really do miss it. I miss being engaged in that side of my creativity. I miss having a reading journal. I miss watching book reviews. I just miss it. And so it is time. It is time for me to shuffle it back up the priorities list a little, even if it stays under writing. My third resolution is to connect with critique partners or start meeting regularly with a critique group. Back in 2019, after I attended my very first writing conference, I learned of the existence of a pretty big writing critique group that is part of the group that puts on the conference every year. And I was really excited to start attending the meetings. Unfortunately, the way that things turned out, it's just a little bit too far to justify me going. I then experienced some financial difficulties and some mental health issues, and then COVID hit. And I attended one meeting and was never able to go back, but I have desperately been wanting to fill that gap in my writing experience. I've been saying for about a year now that I need to start connecting with people who are willing to critique my work and in exchange receive critique from me. Critique partners. But I am also someone who has a hard time connecting with people. I just feel very socially anxious. As such, even in the writing spaces I'm a part of, I tend to lurk or reach out only when I need something, which is not really great for a reciprocal relationship. That is something I am aiming to get better at in the new year. A, be more giving of myself to those in the writing community, and B, get over my anxiety and actually reach out and seek out the help that I need in terms of critique. I would also kind of like to have a weekly online critique group, one where we can get together in like a Discord voice chat and each read the latest chapter that we've written, 2,000 words, and offer critique in a group. I think that would be really nice. That's kind of what the local critique group did, is you got together in a big group and you all read something and then the other members offered their thoughts. If I can figure out a way to organize that or get into something like that, I think that would be really, really helpful. Not just for me in terms of getting feedback on my current project, but also in learning how to give critique, which is just as important. My fourth resolution for 2026 is to launch a author website and or newsletter. I did start a Substack earlier this year, but I have had a little bit of struggle with figuring out what it's really for. When I signed up for the Substack, I kind of thought it was just for like essays. I knew some people use it for newsletters, but I wasn't really sure. And then I got into it and I saw that a lot of people don't use it for that. Of course, they use it to write their thoughts, but some people use it as like a microblogging social media like Tumblr or Twitter. Some people do use it for long form work as well as the aforementioned newsletters. So while building a website is very intimidating to me, if I could at least figure out how to use Substack and figure out how I want to use it in particular, I think that that could be a really great way to connect with people, not just my friends, but also the people I hope will be my readers. I am taking any and all advice in the comments on Substack, by the way. I did run a blog for several years that, while very small, led me to realize that I really enjoy putting out my thoughts into the world. And while yes, I have shifted that more onto this platform and through my videos, I still miss the format of writing a blog post. And I've got some essays in mind for the new year that I would love to share with you guys. I just need to figure out how it works first. The fifth and final resolution that I have for 2026 is to make $1, just one single dollar off of either my writing or my content creation. While that does seem like a low number, I have yet to make any money off of it, which is not a complaint. It's just not been my goal. As I move into this first year of my 5-year plan, in which I hope to become a full-time writer and content creator, this is a small but very important first step to seeing that lofty goal become actual reality. I'm not looking to be able to quit my job by the end of the year. And this isn't me asking for donations or anything like that. I would much rather all of this come naturally than to me be like, ooh, please donate me. That's not what this is about. I do want this to be something that comes from people who want to support me, not just because I'm saying it's a resolution, but because they believe in my vision, they believe in my work, they believe in the books that I'm writing, and they want to show their appreciation or their support. So we do not pity market in this house, but it is a goal. Let's just put it that way. But content is not the only way I am hoping to eventually support myself. Writing is also a part of that. If I could sell a short story to a publication or post content on my Substack for paid subscribers or whatever, those are some ways that writing can contribute to supporting me as well. I have no problem starting small, and I do not expect this to blow up overnight or happen without significant effort and putting into the community as I am trying to get out of it. So not a lofty goal, but an important first step. Sorry, that was really awkward, but I don't want it to seem like I'm asking you guys directly for money, but I'm also not thinking about it, not if my long-term goal is to be a full-time author and content creator, right? Like, do you see where I'm coming from? So that is it for my resolutions. And these are fairly small, fairly achievable, fairly straightforward benchmarks that I would like to hit in the new year. I've got 4 big, huge, major goals that will require way more effort, way more energy and time commitment, and significant planning and sticking to the plan in order to achieve them. These are the key components to this first year of my 5-year plan. 2 of these goals are writing related. One is sort of writing content hybrid, and the last is purely content related. The first and most obvious big goal that I have for 2026 is to get Seekers of Empyrean, my current work in progress, which is a Monster of the Week inspired urban fantasy about a young woman with a rare magical ability who is recruited by a secret government agency to hunt down and stop a growing threat to the hidden magical community. I am currently 70,000 words into draft 2 and had every hope of finishing the draft by the end of the year, but some mental health issues in the fall really forestalled my ability to be creative on a regular basis, and here we are. I've got about 45,000 words left, and I'm very confident that I will get this draft finished early on in the new year. But beyond just finishing this draft, I want to have Seekers of Empyrean query ready by the end of 2026. Yes. Not only do I need to finish draft 2, I need to finish draft 3. I need to find critique partners who are willing to give me some feedback. I need to then implement that feedback. I need to seek out some non-writer beta readers who are willing to read it and offer feedback, implement that feedback, do line edits, do copy edits, write a query letter, all in 12 months. And while yes, that seems like a lot for 1 year, I have seen it done. I have watched authors on this platform get that done, and I have decided 2026, it is my year. On May 1st, I will hit the 2-year mark of writing Seekers of Empyrean. Now, to be fair, the first 6 months or so I spent just world building and thinking deeply about the plot and writing several drafts of an outline. I did not start actually drafting until the end of September of 2024, but May 1st is the official anniversary of me focusing my efforts on this project. And while that doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, I know some some authors got their debut published after like 10 years of working on it. I am very, very sensitive to the time pressure. I know that is a toxic trait that I am trying to rein in, but I do feel the time pressure. I am 37 years old. I will be 38 in June. And I'm to a point now where I'm not willing to wait any longer or prioritize other pursuits over writing. Obviously, my family will always come first, but in terms of my activities and my leisure and my hobbies, writing is the thing that I have to be focused on. And that is all part of this 5-year plan that I am embarking on, and making writing something that I hope will be, in 5 years' time, my full-time job. I do have a very detailed plan on how I'm going to get Seeker's Query ready by the end of the year, including a month-by-month breakdown of what checkpoint I need to hit. And most of that will be covered in my Substack post that'll be coming out on Monday. So if you are part of the Substack community and you're interested in how I'm going to tackle this big challenge, I definitely recommend you checking that out or subscribing to my Substack, which is, as always, just another struggling writer. But suffice it to say, I've given this a lot of thought. And while, yes, it is going to take a lot of effort and a lot of commitment, more commitment than I've ever given any endeavor in my life besides being a parent and my day job, I have to have faith that I'm going to do it, because if I don't have faith in myself that I'm going to pull this off, I never will. And so now is the time, now is the moment to harness this energy and this drive and this passion that I feel to get this project done and into the hands of agents by the start of 2027. My second big writing related goal for 2026 is to draft the first draft of a new project. Now, that seems insane given everything I just said about what I want to do with Seekers, but hear me out. My goal is to send Seekers to critique partners in May and then to beta readers either in August or September. And during those times where the manuscript is with other readers and I am waiting on feedback, my goal is to start the process of world building and planning and outlining my next project, which is under the working title of Daughters of Necessity, which is a sapphic adventure fantasy set in a post-apocalyptic kingdom in which a magical plague that affects not just people, but animals, plant life, the land itself, has devastated this kingdom. And these two young women who were childhood friends that were ultimately separated come back together as adults and go on an adventure to cure the plague. I'm still workshopping that log line. I'm really excited about this project because I envisioned it initially as a standalone, and it still could be a standalone. I do have some lingering ideas for a duology, but I'm not totally committed to it. And if I sold it and an agent said, no, we're just good with a standalone, I would be happy with that. So I'm really excited about it, especially since Seekers is planned to be a very, very long series. And the project I have in mind after Daughters is also a very long series. So I think this is the perfect like palate cleanser kind of project. It has been stewing in my brain for like 4 or 5 years now. So the concept, the magic system, the world, the kind of general shape of the plot is all pretty solid in my mind. So what I really need to do is sit down and grind out the finer details. And my goal is to do that again in May and August when Seekers is with readers and I am waiting on feedback. So that way at the start of fall, I can start drafting it. Now, that is a tall order considering that at that time, my goal is to also be implementing feedback for Seekers and doing the final revisions ahead of querying. But those are two very different phases of the writing process, a rough first draft and final revisions. So I'm hoping that I can balance the two and that they feed off of each other and make me more creatively stimulated. Because I have heard authors say that when they are in the weeds of revision that they find themselves missing the creative stimulus of just a rough draft. And so I'm trying to get out ahead of that by planning on doing both at the same time. Whether or not that ends up being completely insane, we will just have to find out together. My third big goal for 2026 is to host 3 community writing challenges or events. And yes, that is kind of vague, and I haven't really pinned down all the details of this yet, but really this idea started with Nano. Nano, as we all know, died last year under unsavory circumstances, and in its wake, many writing communities have stepped up to try and fill the void, and I was one of them. Even though it didn't end up being super successful, largely because of my own mental health issues, I launched Finish Your Book Fall, which is an idea that I found elsewhere on the internet years and years ago, but could not find any information about once I was looking into reviving it. But the idea is that if you have a project that you've been laboring over or that you've been struggling to find the motivation to finish, Finish Your Book Fall is meant to be a community event where writers get together and just do whatever it takes to finish their book in the season of fall. It's very open-ended. It is very loosey-goosey. You get to pick your own goals. You get to pick what finishing your book means to you. It really is just meant to be a way to motivate each other and support one another as we are laboring over this thing called writing. But longtime Nano participants know that the organization also held events in April and July called Camp NaNoWriMo. These were open-ended challenges where you got to pick your own goal, but the idea was still the same, that you pick a goal and that you spend the month writing towards that goal. If it's 30,000 words, if it's 60,000 words, if it's revisions, whatever. And so I have been on the internet long enough that April and July to me are synonymous with writing challenges. And in an effort to give more to the community, like I mentioned earlier, I decided that I would try and create community events or challenges for April and July as well. I've already got ideas for what I'm going to do for April. There'll be more details as we get a little bit closer, but for April, I am planning daily videos. July, I probably won't do anything like that. I have no idea what I'm going to do for July, but my goal is to have something planned, specific, themed, a challenge, an event of some kind in July. And then the seasonal challenge of Finish Your Book Fall will make its return in 2026. My goal, like I just mentioned, is to write Daughters of Necessity during Finish Your Book Fall. I'm really excited about the April event. I've got some really good ideas. Again, details will be coming as we get closer to April 1st. And then finally, my fourth big goal for 2026 is a goal that's not entirely within my hands or something that I have direct control over. And that is to grow this channel to 2,000 subscribers. Holy hell, that is a big number, especially considering I'm not even at 500 at the moment. But like I said earlier, I experienced exponential growth in 2025. And through that growth, I connected with a community and I made friends, and I found myself really enjoying content creation in a way that I hadn't in the year prior. And I have found that making videos and engaging with the community is really nourishing for me. Again, I am socially awkward. I don't know how to talk to people in real time, and this has been my way to connect with people in a way that feels safe for me because I am sitting alone talking to a camera, not actually interfacing with real people. But through that kind of middleman, I have been able to connect with people, and I have really loved it. And that is why I decided that my 5-year plan would include content creation as well as writing. I have always said that I did not set out on this journey to be a content creator. I am certainly not chasing trends or the algorithm or creating videos that will get me subscribers or that will have big numbers. I am just making the content that I want to make. And that is going to be true throughout the life of this channel, regardless of where it ends up. With that said, I want to be a creator that people want to support. I want to be a creator that is fun, but also realistic, that shows the sometimes less glamorous side of writing. I want to be someone who you can commiserate with, who's at the same stage of the journey as you are, and maybe someone that you see yourself in as you are going on your own writing journey. That is why the name of this channel and the name of all of my online author content is under the heading Just Another Struggling Writer, because I am just one of you guys. I am struggling. I am an aspiring author, and I am part of your group. I am part of your community, and I want to be someone who hopefully represents that. And I want to be someone who you guys feel comfortable with. So while I don't have direct control over how many subscribers that I get, the community events that I'm planning, my content that I have coming up for you guys, and how I engage with everyone on this platform, be it in my comments or other creators, that is all part of what I can control and what I can do to ultimately meet this goal. And that's it. Every goal and resolution I have for 2026. And look, I know it's a lot, but I feel like I grew not just as a content creator and a writer, but as a person in 2025. And I have never been more certain of my ability to achieve these lofty goals. At my big age, I am to the point where I'm asking myself, if not now, when? And so with that, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support this channel, please like and subscribe or consider leaving a comment down below. As always, I have links in my description of different ways you can support me, including my Ko-Fi and my Etsy page. In my next video, I'm going to talk about something else I'm going to be doing in 2026 that I didn't mention today, a personal challenge that took the AuthorTube space by storm last year. I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then.